Hello and welcome to Rathod's IS. Today in this video, we are going to see current affairs of 2nd August 2023. So first, we are going to see brief background regarding the topics so that you can understand which topic we are going to discuss and how can we connect with the static syllabus. So that will help to link current affairs with the static syllabus. That means we are connecting dynamic with static. And later on, we are going to see detailed analysis of each and every topic. And we are also going to discuss if there is any probability or possibility of getting a question. We are going to discuss that. And we are going to say that how the question can be asked. And later on, we are going to see Hindu newspaper PDF at last. So this is the plan of this lecture. So first topic, it is about Digital Personal Data Protection Bill. So actually, we do not have data protection bill in India or data protection laws in India till now. Why? So why we need this? First of all, because of increasing of technology. So increasing of penetration of internet, and now we are talking about 5G technology. What happened whenever if you are opening any app, or for example if you are using any application, then they will be saying that we are going to have this so and so data from your mobile. But without knowing that, by ignoring that, we will be clicking accept. So because of that, what happened? Data, it is going to be a weapon in future. So here, because of this, each and every country, it is the responsibility of the government to protect data, right? So because of this, we need this personal data protection bill. And which committee recommended that? That is B.N. Sri Krishna committee. So B.N. Sri Krishna committee recommended this data protection bill. And number of times we came up with this data protection bill, but it has not been passed. And even we don't know whether this digital personal data protection bill 2023 it is going to be passed and it is going to become an act or not. So it is a dilemma now. So we have to wait and see. And this topic is important from your polity point of view. And this topic is exclusively important from mains, from not your prelims. And next topic is bus ride to equality, the wheels of change in Karnataka. So this article is talking about Shakti scheme. Okay, this article is talking about Shakti scheme of Karnataka state. So what is the scheme it is about? It is about providing free transportation, free bus facility. It is a free bus facility for women. Okay, so it is a free bus facility for the women. And here you have to know what is that scheme. And you have to see what are the benefits of that scheme and how it leads to women empowerment. And you have to see what are the challenges. So all these things that you have to see. So whenever you are seeing any scheme in the news, then you have to see all the subhead, like what are the key points. So how it is going to benefit the society and what are the challenges. Okay, so what is the way forward? So all these things that you have to see whenever you are studying about any scheme that is present in the news. And next one is core comfort. So this article which is talking about core sector. So actually in yesterday's lecture we saw some introduction regarding this core sector. So actually there is improvement that is seen in this performance of these 8 core sectors. So you have to see this, and this topic is important from your economy point of view. And from this article you can get prelims questions and as well as mains based questions. So this is important from your prelims and as well as from your mains. And next topic is climate finance. Climate finance add another layer of inequity to climate change. So actually, if you see the countries in the world, so we have developed, right? So what are the examples of developed countries? You can talk about US, UK, etc., right? And we are also having developing. Okay, so we are having developing and we are also having least developed. Okay, so we have developed, developing and least developed. So these are the three types of countries which are present in our world that you know. So what is the issue here? The issue here is already developed countries, they released as much as emissions as possible. Okay, already they released emissions. So carbon dioxide emissions they already released. And because of this carbon dioxide released, because of industrial revolution that started way back in these developed countries. So now because of these emissions, so that led to climate change, that led to global warming, that is increasing of global temperature. So now these developed or these least developed countries and developing countries, they are facing issues now. So the example which is given is Africa. So Africa, which has not released lot of this carbon dioxide emissions, but even though this Africa is very much vulnerable to the climate change. So here to address these challenges, so we need climate finance. So climate finance means nothing but the finance should be given by developed countries to developing and least developed countries to address the challenges of this climate change. Okay, already these countries, they are facing economic crisis. So here these countries, they need technological assistance and even financial assistance from these developed countries. And this topic is important from your environment and ecology, which comes under GS paper 3. And this climate finance is very important from your mains. Climate finance is important from your mains. And next one is the Holocene climate anomalies. So here this article is also important from your environment and ecology. So here you have to see what is the context. So recently, so there is one message which circulated in social media that so one day in July which is recorded highest temperature. So because of this article is in news and you have to see the reality. And this topic is important and you are UPSC aspirants, right? And you are going to be future bureaucrats. So how can you believe that whenever any message is circulated in the social media platform? You should not believe that blindly. So you have to know the correct facts and then only you have to believe that message. And next topic is what can amend Forest Conservation Act change? So here you have to see what are the changes that we are going to see in this Forest Conservation Act of 1980. So already we discussed this topic, but there is one article in Text and Context said about this and we are going to see that in brief. So these are the topics now we are going to discuss in this video. Okay, and one more thing I want to say is I got good number of answers from the students. And the best answers from Neetu. Next one is Nawaz, Kavya and also User. And one answer from Aditya. Okay, so these are the students who gave the best answers. So congratulations and rock the student. Okay, students, you have to rock this. And the first article it is about Digital Personal Data Protection Bill. So here you have to see what is this Digital Personal Data Protection Bill first of all. And you have to see what are the challenges. So actually this article which is talking about challenges. So it is saying that there is threat to transparency and accountability because it is having changes to RTI Act of 2005. And it also says that there is no autonomy. So these are the two important things which said in this article. But we are going to see a lot more here. Okay. So here this article which is talking about Digital Personal Data Protection Bill. So why it is in news? Our government which is going to pass this bill soon in the Parliament. So because of this is in news. So if you are talking about journey of this bill, so it is not for the first time we came up with this bill. But in the history from 2017 onwards, so our government of India is constantly trying to pass this data protection bill. So now let us try to see this journey. So you can understand the background of this data protection bill in India. So if you see in 2017, privacy as a fundamental right. That means Supreme Court in one judgment, that is K.S. Puttaswamy judgment. So Supreme Court in K.S. Puttaswamy judgment said privacy, right to privacy is a fundamental right which comes under Article 21 of our Indian Constitution. So if you don't know this point, please make a note. So Supreme Court said in this case, Puttaswamy versus Union of India case, right to privacy, it is a fundamental right, and this right to privacy which comes under the integral part of Article 21. So what is this Article 21? Right to life and personal liberty. Okay, and later on after this judgment, so we have Justice Sri Krishna Committee. So this Sri Krishna Committee was constituted to examine the data protection issues in India. And later on this committee released the report, and this report said that yes, we need this data protection bill in India. And later on in 2021, Joint Parliamentary Committee released a report, and this report which gave the new version of this data protection bill. And later on in 2000, okay, and later on what happened in 2022, so there is a withdrawn of this draft data protection bill. And later on in 2022, here Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, which released a draft, that is Digital Personal Data Protection Bill, for public consultation. And finally in 2023, so Union Cabinet gave approval for this draft. Okay, so this is the journey of data protection bill in India. Is it okay? And if you are talking about what is this digital personal data protection bill, so what it means for the consumers. So data can be processed or shared by any entity only after consent. So here person who is giving the data, so that person need to give the consent, so that then only data will be processed and then only the data will be shared. So this is the first thing. And even this bill which talks about penalties, it talks about penalties. So penalties to prevent misuse of data. So why? So there should be penalty whenever there is a misuse of data. And this one is all data will be categorized under general data. So now we have three types of data. So first one is general data, second one is sensitive data, and now third one is critical data. So we have three types of data under this bill. And if you are talking about what is the role of government and as well as regulatory bodies, so government will have the power to obtain any user's non-personal data. Okay, so government have the right to get non-personal data from companies. And this bill also mandates that all financial and critical data that should be stored in India. So what are the data collected by the companies, and if this data is very important, that is this third type of data, that is critical data, and this critical data which should be stored within India, not outside the India. And next one is, if you are talking about this second type, that is sensitive data, so this sensitive data has to be stored in India, but here the processing of this data can be done outside, that too with consent. So here this bill talks about three types of data, right? That is general data, that is nothing but non-personal data, and next one is sensitive data and critical data. So here regarding this non-personal data, government have the power to obtain this data, and this sensitive data can be stored in India, but if they want to go for processing, so this processing can be done outside India, but they have to take consent. And if you say this critical data, so this critical data that should be stored and processed in India. Okay, so this is about the role of government and as well as regulatory bodies. And what companies have to do. The first one is social media firms. They have to formulate a voluntarily verification process for the users. Okay, so here social media firms, they have to formulate a voluntary verification process for the users. And if you're talking about the sharing of data, so sharing without consent. So if I am having the data, if I am sharing the data without the consent from the customers, then what happen? So there will be penalty will be imposed. So what will be the penalty? Penalty is fine. So it is around rupees 15 crore or 4% of the global turnover of that company. And next one is, if there is data breach or inaction is happened, then there will be fine of rupees 5 crore or 2% of global turnover. So these are the some important key highlights of this bill. And if you are talking about one cause of concern here is this Data Protection Bill of 2022 includes a provision. That provision will amend Right to Information Act. So you might come across this Right to Information Act if you have gone through the governance. So because of this right to information, that led to increased transparency, and accountability. That led to transparency and accountability in governance process. What happened because of amendment to this Right to Information Act here? So it is going to affect transparency and accountability. So this is one issue. So what is the impact of legislation on the citizens? So this law or this bill, which is going to enhance privacy protection of citizens, and because of this penalty, that will lead to decrease in the misuse of this personal data, and there will be also control over data. Is seen. So individual consent is necessary before collecting and processing the critical personal information, and there is right to nominate. So in the case of their death, disability or data principals will also be able to designate someone to act in their place. So if they want to take the consent, if that person who is dead means, so here the authority can designate any person to give the consent to use that data. So these are the effects of that legislation on the citizens. So what are the challenges here? The first and the foremost thing here is, so there is a privacy concerns, because that leads to amendment of this Right to Information Act. So because of this privacy concerns, so this is having negative impact. And there is no provision which is made for the right to data portability and as well as right to be forgotten. So there is no provision in this law which talks about right to data portability and as well as right to be forgotten. So this is also one important issue, and even we can see there is dilution of this data protection board. There is no autonomy. So the issue is there is no autonomy. It cannot take the suo motu cases. So when the cases are recommended by the government, then only those cases can be taken. But there is no suo motu cases. So there is lack of autonomy to the board. And next one is there is also clash with this Right to Information Act of 2005. So here the privacy laws may make it more difficult to provide information to RTI applicants. So because of all these things, that will lead to impairing of transparency and as well as accountability. And even there is no clarification regarding the penalties regarding the data fiduciaries. So these are some challenges. So what is the way forward? So here we have to focus on right applicability. So we have to take public interest into account and personal information that need to be protected. And this personal information which can be solely used for the purpose for which it is gathered. So there should not be any misuse of the data. And we have to define the purpose for which the data is collected. And we have to adopt the best practices, which are similar to this general data protection regime which is adopted by European Union. And here we have to make people aware regarding this data protection bill. We can go for conducting awareness campaigns, literary initiatives, and we can also go for collaboration with education institutions, and we can raise up awareness among the people regarding this data protection. And there is a possibility of getting mains question in this topic. So the question here is, discuss the key provisions of personal data protection bill and its significance. So first one is you have to write about key provisions, and second one is you have to write about significance, and you have to examine the concerns raised by the stakeholders. You have to write about concerns, and fourth one is you have to suggest some measures, and you have to write this answer within 150 words. So this is a great challenge. So try to write answer. Answer should not be more than 2 sides of a page. And let us see the next topic. It is about Shakti scheme of Karnataka. So title says Bus Ride to Equality, the Wheels of Change in Karnataka. So this article is at most important from your governance point of view. So whenever we are talking about any scheme, that will comes under governance. So these schemes will be important from both your prelims and as well as from your mains, and from mains you will be getting analysis based questions. So analysis means nothing but you have to see key provisions and you have to say what will be the benefits, so what will be the challenges and what are the issues. Okay, so this is the analysis based points, and this topic is important from your mains and as well as prelims, so you have to be prepared with this topic for sure. So if you are talking about this article which is focusing on Karnataka Shakti scheme, so it is related to free bus rides to women of Karnataka states. So why means because of two important objectives. So that is, we have to make women self-independent. We have to make women self-independent, and next one is we have to make women self-sufficient. That will leads to women empowerment. So these are the objectives of this scheme. So if we are talking about context, recently Karnataka government launched Shakti scheme. So this scheme, it is to provide free bus travel to women in the state, and this scheme which aimed for empowering women, and this scheme will encourage them to participate more in the society. So if we are talking about what are the benefits, the first one is there is increased mobility. So here the scheme which allows women to travel freely without having to worry about the cost of transportation. So because of this free bus, what happened now? Here women, there is no need to take money, so they can save their pocket money also, right? So they can travel freely without having a worry regarding the cost of transportation. And here women, already you know that women is having less access to education compared to that of men, and even less employment opportunities. So here, because of this arrangement given by the government of Karnataka, so now women in Karnataka, they can have the access to education, they can go to the jobs, okay, they will be having good employment opportunities, and there will be increased contribution of women to the economy of the state. And next one is that will also help for increasing of safety. So whenever women, they are going on vehicles, or whenever they are going on this Ola cabs, etc., so there is a issue regarding this harassment, right? So because of this, women, they are not coming outside, and some women, they will be leaving the education or leaving the jobs. So here, whenever the scheme which is provided by this government, that is a free bus facility, then it will be increasing the safety of women also. So women can reliable on this mode of transportation. So because of this, it will also reduce the risk of harassment and violence against women if they are going for this private transport system. And next one is it will also helpful for increased economic opportunities for women. So this scheme can help women to access better jobs, and they also earn higher wages, and they can also improve the economic status of women. And finally, women, they will also contribute to the overall development of the state. And what are the challenges which are faced? So first one is there is lack of awareness. So many of women, they don't know about this scheme. And next one is there is lack of infrastructure. So state's public transportation system is not much well developed to handle increased demand. So this is also one cause of concern here. And next one is social stigma. So here some women, they face social stigma for using public transportation. So these are some challenges. So what are the recommendations? Yes, we have to increase awareness. So we have to go for awareness camps, and we can go for outreach programs, and we can improve the state's public transportation system, and we have to make it more accessible for women, and we have to address social stigmas associated with the women using this public transportation. So these are the recommendations that can be made. And now let us see next topic. It is about core comfort. So this article which is talking about core sector performance. So we have 8 core sectors. So this article talking about performance of this 8 core sectors. And this article is very important from your economy. And this economy comes under GS paper 3. And you can get some facts based question in your prelims. And from your mains you can get analysis based question. From mains analysis, and from tracks you can get prelims based question. Okay. So we're talking about this core sector growth, why it is in news. So every month we can see the growth of this core sector and the prospects of this growth sector. Okay, growth of this core sector. So if you see here, this article says that the output of this India's 8 core sectors, and this output had been strengthened in the month of June. And here it reached about 8.2%. So since COVID-19 is seen in India from 2020 onwards, so there is less growth or negative growth recorded in many sectors, many core sectors. And now in 2023, finally in this June month, we saw there is a recorded growth in this core sector. So we're talking about this core sector. So what all comes under? That is FERNSCCC. FERNSCCC. F means fertilizer, E means electricity, R means refinery, N is natural gas, S is steel industry, and 3 C's are, the first one is coal, second one is crude oil, and third one is cement. So in this June month there is a good growth. Only this crude oil production sees the negative growth, and remaining all sectors they recorded the positive growth. And steel sector which got more growth, it is about 21.9%. And what are the factors that led to this growth now? So the first and the foremost thing here is the growth was largely driven by increased spending. So government increased spending. So there is increased government spending on infrastructure projects. So there is increased government spending on infrastructure projects and especially roads. So there is increased government spending on infrastructure projects, especially roads. And even some sector like steel and cement, they experienced a significant growth in the first quarter. In the first quarter, steel and cement, they also experienced the significant growth. And next one here is, there is delayed arrival of monsoon this year. So because of this delayed arrival of monsoon also, we had some positive impact on certain sectors. For example, electricity and as well as coal. And there is a dry weather in June. So because of this, it also boosted activities in mining, electricity generation. That led to the overall growth contribution. So what are these core sectors? So these core sectors, they constitute about 40.3%. So these core sectors, they contribute 40.3% of weight of items which included in IIP, that is Index of Industrial Production. And if you are talking about this index of 8 core industries, it prepared every month by Office of Economic Advisor. So this is very important prelims fact. So under which department it comes under? It comes under Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, that is DPIIT, which comes under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So this is very important. And what are these 8 core sectors? I said that is coal. So here in this coal, it includes coal production excluding coking coal. So this is very important prelims fact. And in electricity, it includes electricity generation of thermal, nuclear, hydro, and imports even that we are getting from Bhutan, that is hydropower energy. And next one is crude oil, which includes total crude oil production in India. And next one is cement, that is production in the large plants and mini plants. And natural gas, which includes total production of natural gas. And steel includes the production of alloy and non-alloy steel only. And next one is refinery products, includes total refinery production. And fertilizers like urea, and we have ammonium sulfate, calcium ammonium nitrate, complex grade fertilizer, single superphosphate. So these will come under the fertilizer. So we're talking about what is the significance of core industries. So what is the significance of core industries? So core industries, they play a very important role in shaping Indian economy. And because of this, what happened? So we will be having the significant impact on our economy in the various other sectors. If you are talking about when we are going for measuring physical volume of production in India, so these industries, they provide essential insights. They provide essential insights into economic activities, and even their analysis offer more accurate and comprehensive understanding of overall economic landscape. And if you are talking about why we need to study about these core industries, because here government agencies, they rely on the progress of core industries, and based on the data they are getting, so they can formulate the policies, they can come up with the new schemes such that will contribute to economic development. Okay, and these industries, they are also instrumental in calculating quarterly and advanced GDP estimates, and they will be also referred as infrastructure output, and the core sector represents the foundational industries that form the backbone of our economy. And because of this, the performance of core sector, which is having the direct influence on overall economic prosperity and as well as industrial progress. So this is about this topic in detail. And now let us try to see the next topic. Title says climate finance add another layer of inequity to climate change. So here we have to focus on one important terminology, that is climate finance. So what is this climate finance? So let us see this topic, and this topic is important from your environment and ecology. So if you see context, it says that in the last few years, climate justice activists have been campaigning for the world's economically developed countries to raise their investments in climate adaptation and mitigation. So actually here I said no. So we have developed countries. We have developing countries like India and least developed. So these developed countries, they came up with industrial revolution way back. So whatever they already released into atmosphere. So now because of this emissions, developing countries and least developed countries, they are facing the issues. Already these countries are having lot of challenges. So what are the challenges? Already these countries having eradication of poverty, hunger, sanitation, well-being of the people, and they want to come up with different schemes, and they are facing economic crisis. So if these countries, they want to again contribute to the climate change, if they want to spend the money to control this climate change, means it will be overburdened. So because of this climate justice activists, they are saying that these developed countries, they need to provide finance for these developing and least developed countries. So because of this climate finance concept come into picture. So countries in sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America and South Asia, they have historically contributed to the least global warming, but these countries, they are facing the climate disasters. So they are facing extreme natural phenomena, and even they are facing debt distress. So because of this, yes, there is a need of financial assistance from these developed countries. So on the other hand, the countries in North America and Europe, they have contributed and they continue to contribute to this carbon emissions the most, and there are also the credits of the debt crisis as well. So here, because of this, we need this climate financing. So why exactly we need this climate finance? Because climate change, it is unpredictable. So we can't predict what will happen. So which disaster will be going to happen. So an increase in the number of cyclones is seen, and unexpected rainfalls or seasonal rainfalls. There is also a pattern change in the rainfalls. So because of all these extreme weather events, and we are also seeing there is a glacier melting, increasing of sea level rise. Okay, because of this, large financial resources are required to adapt the detrimental effects and to mitigate the effects of climate change. And not only that, to keep global warming below the goal level, so rapid large scale emission reduction is required. So for this, we have to go for transition from non-renewable energy sources towards renewable sources. So because of this, we need finance, and countries' contribution to this climate change and their ability to prevent and manage its repercussions, they differ greatly. So because of this, these developed countries need to help the developing and least developed countries. Okay, so for this, climate finance is required, and only rapid mitigation efforts will be able to keep this global warming below 1.5 degrees centigrade. So it is a target under Paris Climate Deal of 2015. So for this also we require significant expenditure on this green technology. And next one is a small number of high income countries, they are to blame for the climate change, and now disproportionately here low developed countries or least developed countries, they are facing the effects. So because of this, it is a responsibility of these developed countries to provide the finance. Okay, so this is about this topic. And now let us see the next topic. It is about the Holocene climate anomalies, and this topic is important from your environment and ecology, and this topic is important from your GS paper 3, and this topic is important again from your mains. So let us try to see this topic and let us try to understand this. Some headlines proclaimed that a particular day in July is the warmest, and it is more than 1 lakh years. So in 1 lakh years, so we had recorded highest temperature in one day in July. So this is the headline which circulated in the social media platform, but there is no scientific thing, okay, scientific backup regarding the statement. So we're talking about this temperature estimates from before thermometers they were invented. They are derived from this paleoproxies. So they are biological and as well as chemical signatures of temperature, somewhere having been warmer or colder than specific baseline temperature. So if you see here, it is saying that 1 lakh years, in this 1 lakh years, at that time there was no invention or there was no invention of this thermometers, but how they can see the temperature range. So it is based on biological and chemical signatures of temperature. So now we have thermometers, and we can predict the temperature exactly. Okay. So here this article says that we cannot accurately determine the daily temperature because of mixing of oceans and because of the mixing process which happens in the oceans and as well as in the lakes. So we can't determine the daily temperature. So if we're talking about some more details, it says that the study of Holocene epoch warming helps understand how ancient civilizations they respond to climate change, but it's challenging to pinpoint specific daily temperature records without direct thermometer measurements. So this article says that the study of this Holocene epoch warming which helps to understand how ancient civilizations respond to climate change, but the one important challenge that here is, so there is no pinpoint specific daily temperature records. Okay, so there are no thermometer measurements at that time. And if you want to get the balanced, accurate information with climate action, so we can ensure the trust in scientists, governments and initiatives addressing, and we have to see on consequence of climate change. So this is about this topic. And next topic is what can amended in this Forest Conservation Act change. So here we already discussed about this topic, and now let us try to see in brief what is given in the gist itself. So we're talking about context. It says that the controversial Forest Conservation Amendment Bill 2023, and this bill passed by Lok Sabha with a limited debate. So without proper debate and discussion, so this bill had been passed in Lok Sabha and is introduced in Rajya Sabha, and we have to see whether this bill it is going to pass in Rajya Sabha or it is going to get assent from the president or not. We have to wait and see. So apart from that, this bill which aims to restrict conservation scope, and it will exempt border lands for strategic projects, and it will also allow some non-forest activities in this forest lands. So it is restricting the conservation scope, it is exempting the border lands for the strategic projects, and it will also allow some non-forest activities can be done in forest areas. So this bill was introduced in the Lok Sabha in March, and thereafter it was referred to a joint parliamentary committee, and this joint parliamentary committee consisting of 32 members. It is consisting of 32 members from both houses of parliament across the party lines. So if we're talking about some details, it says that this highly controversial Forest Conservation Amendment Bill 2023, it is awaiting debate in this Rajya Sabha after passing this bill in Lok Sabha without no debate. So this bill seeks to restrict the conservation scope of Act on certain forest land, and also exempts the border lands from obligations to seek the permission to clear forests in order to construct strategic linear projects of national importance. So actually this bill which is going to have the debate in the Rajya Sabha, and already this bill passed in Lok Sabha without no debate, and this bill which is going to restrict the conservation scope of act only in certain forest lands, and this bill also exempts the border lands from the obligation to seek the permissions to clear forest in order to construct any strategic linear projects like roads, railways, etc., which are of national importance. So why this exemption for the border infrastructure is controversial now? Because this bill which seeks to exempt linear infrastructure, for example roadways and railways, from seeking the forest clearance permissions, and if these are located within 100 kilometers of the national border. And experts they also raise concerns because the strategic linear projects of national importance, it is an undefined term, so it is also undefined. So because of this, so this word that is strategic linear projects, that can be misused by some infrastructure projects, and that will having the devastating impacts on the economy and as well as ecology of the environment. Okay, so economy and as well as ecology will be affected. So this is about this exemption and what is the controversy regarding this infrastructure projects. So this is about this topic, and I hope it is very much clear. And today's homework is you have to let me know what are the key provisions. So I will be writing here, so if you want you can make a screenshot. So what are the key provisions of Forest Conservation Act of 1980? So what are the changes through this amendment? What are the changes through amendment? And you have to give your opinion on Shakti scheme, and what is IIP index of industrial production, and what is GI tag. So these are the 5 questions you have to answer me in the comment box. Don't forget about this. And I want to say that in Rathod's IAS Academy we came up with this daily mains answer writing codes for the beginners, and already the students who gave the attempts who didn't clear the mains. So to improve answer writing skills, so this course is absolutely beneficial, and in this course we are going to provide daily 1 question based on the schedule. So we are going to give you the 52-week schedule along with the micro listing of topics, and based on that schedule we are going to give you daily 1 question, and that question will be updated every day. And this course covers GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4 along with essay and as well as case studies on every Sunday, and we provide model answer for each and every question, and there will be detailed evaluation of your answer copy, and there will be live doubt clearance session on every Sunday, and you will be also going to get one-to-one mentorship. And this course already started yesterday, so you can join this. Admissions are going on, so try to join this course and you can improve your confidence in answer writing such that there will be high chance of clearing of your mains. So mains is a challenging task in the UPSC. And if you have any queries, so please call me on this number 8074765513. Okay, and one more important thing here is, so this course is going to be only in English medium. There is no use of Hindi anywhere. And now let us try to see today's Hindu newspaper PDF. So this is our today's Hindu. Date is August 2nd and today is Wednesday. So the first topic is Manipur status report on FIR shows there is no law and order, says Supreme Court. So bench flags study police probe and late registration of FIRs and recording of witness statements. So directs Manipur DGP to present in the court on August 7th. So it is about ethnic violence in Manipur. So you can see here the violence had reached the peaks in Manipur. So there is no proper maintenance of law and order in Manipur. So this is the issue. So if you move on, there is nothing much important in this city page. So in the states page, you can see this image. This is image of river Yamuna, and you can see the white froth. Okay, white foam is seen because of pollution. So cleaning of Yamuna, military veterans seek statutory body. So this article is very important. And if you move on, so in this page you can see this image or data of Chandrayaan-3. Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft, which is launched on July 14, has left Earth orbit and entered into the moon's sphere of influence following the translunar injection. and we are going to see whether it is going to move in this moon bound maneuvers, and there are 4 maneuvers, and after that there will be soft landing. So the soft landing is expected on August 23, and we have to wait and see whether it will happen or not. And next important topic is GI tags given to crafts from Rajasthan and mangoes grown in Goa. So here you have to see what is this GI tag, and I gave you the homework. So Jalsar Dhatu Shilp, that is metal craft, and Goa's Mankurant mango, Goan Benbika Udaipur Kotagiri metal craft, and Baikinar Kashidakari craft, and Jodhpur Bundej craft, Baikinar Usta Kala craft. So these, they got this GI tags, and you have to see what is the tenure of this GI tag, and once in how many years we have to renew that. And next topic is, here you have to see at rupees 14,359 crore assets of Karnataka MLAs, highest among the states, says analysis. So go to this. And next one is single pill strategy to beat cardiovascular diseases, and you have to see what is cardiovascular disease, whether it is communicable or not. And in this editorial page, I discussed this topic regarding digital personal data protection bill, and I also discussed about this Shakti scheme of Karnataka, and I also discussed about this core sector growth. And there is one article, it is regarding big concerns over big cats. It is about the tiger population increase. So recently we got the census of this tiger population. So this says that there is increase in number of tigers in our country. So there might be the events of human animal conflict because of decreasing of prey and because of habitat destruction. And if you move on, you can see this article regarding climate finance. I discussed this topic. In text and context, I discussed Holocene climate anomalies and also this Forest Conservation Act changes. And if you move on to this news page, you can see panel submits report on subcategorization of OBC after 6 years. So you have to see who are these OBCs and subcategorization of OBCs. And this one is Apex Court dismisses challenge to the Penn Monument project. You have to see what is this Penn Monument project. And in 13th page, you can see no trust motion, that is nothing but no confidence motion. So already I discussed this topic in the earlier videos. And this one is Lok Sabha passes bill on birth registration. So already we discussed this topic regarding digitalization of births and deaths. And next topic is MG Narega scheme. You have to see the basic facts regarding that scheme. In the business page, you can see this article, that is GST revenues registered 3 months high in July. So here you have to see what is this GST. And actually this GST revenue crosses 1.6 lakh crore for the 5th time on healthy collections from domestic transactions. And the revenues from this domestic transactions and services imports grew by 15% in the month of July. And because of this, it is boosting the total receipts. And the calculation indicate that there was a 0.8% decline in goods import revenues in July from year earlier. And the past trend of 6 key states generating almost 60% of GST collection continues. So this is about this topic. And next one is July factory output growth eases to 3 months low. So here you have to see what is this purchasing managers index, and this purchasing manager index will be different from manufacturing sector and different for service sector. So it is talking about manufacturing sector. So these are some important articles that appear in our today's Hindu newspaper. So I hope you enjoyed this lecture. So if you really like this video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy and try to share this video to your friends. So by this I am concluding. Thank you so much.